So we are about a month, a little over a month of doing our self-isolating and trying to stay at home as much as possible to battle COVID so we can get back out and do some more socializing. And one great idea to do while you're at home is to get better educated, especially if you are a real estate investor, whether you're a seasoned investor or you're brand new, and especially if you also are looking at doing fix and flips. So that's what we're going to do, is talk fix and flips today. We are here with one of our Mogul Realty Group Power Team members, JP from Technicon. And JP, how are you doing today?
Good, and you?
I'm doing very good. It's nice to see spring, and
sun's out. That's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be nice to get out without the winter jackets. So,
yeah.
You've done a lot of fix and flips, you and your partner Rami. So, tell us a little bit about Technicon and how many fix and flips you've done.
Technicon has been in operation in its current form only for about a year and a half. And the reason why it's been like that is because I teamed up with Remy Noel, which is a real expert in putting deals together. So the whole aspect of real estate investment. So that was a good fit between me, who is more versed into construction, and him who is more versed into the financing and putting deals together. So we started this company together. I was operating Technicon into another form before, purely as construction, not necessarily oriented in real estate investment, but mostly for construction. So I've been doing construction for about 30 years. I've done probably around 80 flips myself over my career. With Remy, we've done 8 last year. We have 4 going this year so far. We do mostly residential flips, so bungalows, duplexes into fourplexes, that kind of stuff. We renovate apartment complex, so that kind of stuff. So we're fairly experienced into the construction of residential living space.
Wow, that is a very impressive resume. And for any real estate investors out there, or anybody that is interested in doing any renovations, you can certainly see why we've chosen Technicon to be on our power team. So, JP, you can probably spot a good fix and flip in a matter of minutes. But for most of us that haven't done very many fix and flips, those of us that are getting into wanting to do that, you've compiled a top 5 list of what to do. So we're going to start at number 5 and work our way through. And if you can just talk a little bit about that. So number 5 of the top items to check for in order to ensure a good fix and flip candidate. And some of these are just across the board for any type of house, but we're focused on fix and flips. Number 5 is curb appeal.
Yeah, so curb appeal, one of the things we look for, well, it's basically when you drive up to a house, what does it look like? How much work does it gonna take to make it appealing to any client or yourself to begin with? If you're not attracted to the house to begin with, well, the question you must ask yourself is, how much money will I need to be putting in to make it appealing to somebody else? The things you want to look for is it stucco? Is it wood? So what kind of material you're going to be working with? What kind of solutions you can have? Obviously, a house that's the whole front is stucco, you can easily paint it for fairly cheap. That's going to be an easy upgrade to the house, a fairly cheap one, and that's going to put you back in business. Presence of trees, presence of big concrete elements are all things that we want to look for. So the less money you have to put on the curb appeal, the more money you can put inside and make it a gem.
That is some great advice there. So number 4, and this is definitely a little more focused on fix and flippers, the ability to separate into 2 suites.
Yeah, so any houses that you're going to be looking at as an investor, you want to maximize your money. One of the ways to maximize your money is to have a legal basement suite in it. One of the ways to achieve that is you want to be able to do that at a lower cost than having to, like we've seen in the past, flips that people had to dig out a new door in the concrete, that kind of stuff. You don't want to get into that. You want to use the existing element of the house. So where is the back access to the house? Is it conveniently located in a way that you can separate the 2 suites? You don't want tenants to cross path ever. That's one of our most biggest focus, is to make sure that tenants don't cross path at all. So the ability to be able to put washer and dryer separately in both suites, the ability to have a complete separate access from the front, from the back, so they don't have to cross path ever. Some little things about crossing access that can be annoying to one another are things that are going to be aggravation in the future. So the ability of the house itself in its condition to be able to separate that easily at a lower cost is one of the things we're going to be looking for.
That is great advice. Thank you. Number 3 is the general condition of the house. We've got here in the notes some rafters, looking for surprises.
Yeah. So general condition of the house, what we're looking at in general when we approach a house is what are going to be the easiest route to achieve a separation of the suite and the new layout of the house. So most houses built in the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever a year, the layout are not what you're going to be wanting to separate the suites. So if you look at the inside of the roof, your inspector is going to be able to tell you if it's a rafter system or a truss system. Rafter system implies that you're going to have to work with structural walls, structural support, posts in the like point loads and that kind of stuff. With trusses, it makes it a lot easier to move walls around because the whole system of the roof kind of sits on the exterior walls, and you don't rely as much on the inside of the house. So the modification of the walls and layout becomes a lot easier. So these are the little things that you're going to be wanting to look at. When we talk about general condition, we talk about the doors, windows. You have to replace those. Doors and windows on a house is a $10,000 hit from the get-go. So obviously, those are the things that you're going to want to be looking at. The less you spend on the general condition of the house, once again, the more you can spend on the inside of the house and make that shining gem that's going to attract buyers or renters.
Right. Great. And number 2 is probably the one that scares most renovators, most people that are new into getting into real estate investing, and that is the foundation. Cracks, potential water, the grading, and the condition of the concrete. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, the cracks to us is not something that's very scary in the way that it can easily be fixed. There's companies that are expert at this. They warranty their job. So it's not that big of a deal. What you want to be worried about with water, it's where it's coming from, how long is it been coming from, and what's the nature of the problem. So if the problem is the grading around the house, that water has been pooling around the house for many years, pushed on the concrete, cracks the foundation, that kind of stuff, you know that you're in for a bigger invoice than if it's just cracks from many years of existence of the house. So the reason of water infiltration or cracks is what's important, not the cracks itself necessarily. Obviously, if you have a very heavy deformation of the foundation with an horizontal crack, it's going to be a bigger problem than if it's just a stress crack from a window in the basement. Water infiltration from the roof are things that you want to look for. So when visiting a house, you're going to see trace of infiltration either at the windows, the roof line. From the inside, you want to look at all the corners if there's evidence of water infiltration anywhere, that kind of stuff. So anything that would infiltrate in the walls will tell you that you're going to have to open these walls, redo insulation, deal with mold, that kind of stuff. You don't want to get into that. So you want to make sure that the house was always preserved into a good condition without any water infiltration from the top. The basement, not that big of a deal to deal with. The top, a bit more issues.
Okay, great. Hopefully that helps a lot of investors look at concrete and foundation in a much different way. And number 1 is exterior and roof. And I know that one of the reasons why you've got that high is that a lot of people will focus so much on the inside that the outside is something that they don't necessarily really think too much about, and that can really get into a problem when it comes to budgeting. So exterior and roof is number 1.
Yeah, well, so as you mentioned, the inside of the house is, to us, is only cosmetic. Cosmetic is not what usually costs the most. So anything that you can look at in the inside it's going to be easily fixable for a somewhat lower cost. What people don't look at a visit, and a lot of times when we go with clients to visit a house, what we notice is we spend 5 minutes on the outside, 2 hours on the inside. Problem is 25 to 30% of your costs are going to be on the outside if you don't know what to look for. So the roof is not that big of a hit, even if it's presented as one of the major hit. Your roof is going to be 5 to 6,000, 7,000, depending on the complexity. But what you want to look for, it's the general condition of the exterior. So what is the geometry of your site? If water has been pooling around the house for many years, that's going to be an issue. General condition of the stucco, the siding, that kind of stuff. So everything that has to do with the exterior, landscaping on a house, the fence, you can look at the $20,000-$25,000 hit on the exterior if you don't know what to look for. A lot of these houses that look very appealing on the inside that have been on the market for a while, a lot of times what's going to happen is that there's a lot of investors, seasoned investors or contractors that have seen the exterior, know that they're going to have to spend $20,000 on it, and they're not interested in that. So they're going to focus more on houses that they don't have to touch anything on the exterior as much as possible. So any houses that has, you look at a house that has a back alley and the street that's higher than the middle of the yard itself, that's always going to be an issue. You're always going to have water pooling there. You're always going to be dealing with water issues in the house, cracks, that kind of stuff. Roof, you want to make sure that it's been maintained properly. The roof penetrations are not old and cracked and unsealed. So these are all the exterior. Make sure that your inspector or yourself look for these things, those signs of poor maintenance on the outside that are going to cost you a lot of money in the end.
Well, thank you, JP. That was all fantastic stuff. So there is your top 5. Just recapping again: number 5, curb appeal; number 4, the ability to separate into 2 suites; number 3, the general condition of the house, especially rafters in the attic there in the roof; water cracks, foundation; and number 1, the exterior and the roof. Again, you can see why Technicon and JP and Ramey are part of our Mogul Power team. If you are a seasoned investor or someone new, or even just somebody that would like to talk to somebody about some renovations you would like to do to your own home, JP, how do they get a hold of you?
Phone, email, phone 587-879-9747. They can find us online. Facebook is our main contact source right now, technicon.ca. Yeah, we're out there. You guys are a good source for us too. You can talk to any of the Mogul Group agent. They have our contact. They can relay you the information that you need. Just as a side note, anything that we just said, always confirm with your inspector. We have a very good contact for you guys, I think, through the Mogul Real Estate Group with overview property
inspection. Yes, with Pierre.
That's always, to us, that's the cheapest investment you can make, is a good inspection on your home, knowing what's there. But yeah, any first impression is always the right impression. Can tell you that much. Great. So know what to look for, and that's always a good thing.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, JP. This is Devin Gray from EXP and the Mogul Realty Group. We are going to talk again, JP and myself. Next time, we're going to be talking about those nasty surprises that always pop up during a fix and flip. And so stay tuned for that next time. Stay safe and stay healthy. All the best.